NASA ends space missions for two reasons. One is space radiation, and two is there is no more plutonium for fuel for these space missions. Shocking. What are we to believe? This is what they have announced, and it's just unbelievable. And yet we know that it's Russia that's taking up the US astronauts to the ISS, the International Space Station. Plutonium? Well, the United States has a shortage of plutonium, and it seems that it doesn't have enough of the right stuff to continue the NASA missions. Shocking announcement. NASA announces end of space missions because of cosmic radiation and the fact that US has no more plutonium for fuel. NASA did inform us that Russia does have plutonium. Not only that, but NASA informed us that Russia was supplying the plutonium for the US space missions since 1990. Is this the explanation why US astronauts are being taken to the International Space Station by Russia spacecraft? Also, what will NASA be doing now? Relying on Russia to lift them up out of Earth atmosphere for their missions? And is that why they're calling for joint space missions with Russia? The NASA Mars mission is now officially off. A study reveals that it could be twice as deadly to reach the red planet. Future Mars missions are in doubt after space boffins discover that reaching Mars might be twice as deadly as previously thought. Sean Martin reports for Express UK. Scientists may have underestimated the effect of cosmic rays on humans, not only on humans but also the equipment on board. Cosmic rays on humans as they leave Earth's atmosphere and are exposed to the deadly radiation. The likes of SpaceX, NASA, and China have announced their desires to get humans to Mars, as we've all heard, but that may not be realistic, as a study on mice found that radiation from cosmic rays could be twice as potent as had been estimated in the past. Initial estimates suggest it would take humans around 9 months to get to Mars. During that time, though, astronauts would be constantly bombarded from radiation from the sun, whereas people on Earth are protected by the planet's atmosphere. However, there is no protection from radiation in space. Health scientists Frank Cucinota and Elidona Kakaot, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, re-examined previous studies of cosmic rays on mice. What they found is that the rodents were 2 times more likely to develop tumors in space. The scientists say that the increased risk of cancer is, of course, the result of how the cosmic rays damage DNA when they spread to our DNA. When these cosmic rays hit cells, the DNA is damaged and subsequently gives off chemical signals that result in other cells mutating. These two scientists say that the previous studies have not accounted for this. In their paper published in the journal Nature, they write, quote, "Studies are urgently needed prior to long-term space missions outside the protection of Earth's geomagnetic sphere." But they do note that there are significant differences between mice and humans, and more research will need to be done into how people's DNA is altered by cosmic rays. NASA has previously said it wants to get the first humans to Mars somewhere between 2030 and 2040. Also, Elon Musk's SpaceX mission has the financial clout to reach Earth's next-door neighbor, Mars, and he's aiming to get people to the red planet by around 2030, with the first people there being tasked with beginning to build a new civilization. Of course, Elon Musk and his SpaceX mission has not spoken concerning the cosmic radiation problem. This is on Express UK. NASA's future is in doubt. deep space missions are threatened over huge plutonium shortage. The future of NASA may be in doubt after a shortage of plutonium, which is needed for deep space missions, was uncovered by U.S. officials. Nicole Stinson of Express UK reports. This is all very disturbing and very strange because of the fact that we live in the modern age where various types of energy could be used. I'm sure that just because there's not enough plutonium around, it doesn't mean that they cannot use, for example, the electric ether of all of space and the universe, which has been discovered. Now, let's go on with the article, however. It could be an excuse just to stop the space program. Donald Trump's Government Accountability Office, GAO, warned that space agency's future may be at risk as the U.S. Department of Energy faces challenges meeting NASA's expected need for a plutonium isotope required for missions. I wonder if Hillary had not sold off 20% of the U.S. uranium to Russia, that there could be a connection in having enough plutonium for space missions. The GAO revealed in its latest report around half of the U.S. plutonium stockpiles were already in use, and the future missions Mars 2020 and New Frontiers number 4 could diminish the remainder. Without access of plutonium-238 radioisotope, NASA will be forced to eliminate or delay future missions, including the space agency's plans to send astronauts to Mars, as we said, between 2030 and 2040. Well, they also said that it would be too dangerous to send astronauts to Mars because of cosmic radiation. If you see the video just before this one, that's what is explained in there. That they have no way of reaching Mars with all this cosmic radiation because it would take such a long time to reach, 9 months there and back, and they would be riddled with cancer because of that. Shelby S. Oakley, who is Director of Acquisition and Sourcing Management of GAO, said, if the Energy Department existing plutonium-238 supply is used for these two missions, NASA would be forced to eliminate or delay future missions. So perhaps they would scrap these two missions as well. The news comes as NASA scientists had hoped to send spacecrafts to explore hidden oceans on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, and also, of course, travel farther into deep space to uncover the secrets of our universe. Alan Stern, who is the lead scientist of NASA's New Horizons mission, said all of these missions would require nuclear power. Jessica Sunshine, a scientist who developed a comet hopper mission for NASA, comet hopping from one comet to the other, told Business Insider that without plutonium missions like hers will also come into question. They will be stopped, of course. She said, it's not a matter of can you do it better, but can you do it at all? On a comet operating at crazy distances, you can't land with solar panels the size of an Airbus wing. The radioactive power supply is a totally enabling thing. The US government stopped making plutonium-238 in 1988, and while Russia sold some to NASA in 1990s and 2000s, this ended in 2009. So in other words, Russia has plutonium and the United States does not. As a result, NASA only has about 77 pounds left. That's 35 kilograms. That's about the size of a 10-year-old child. But because plutonium-238 decays only about half of it is considered fresh enough to be used for space missions. So in actuality, they'll have about half of that, like 40 pounds. This would not be enough for another mission like Cassini, which used more than 50 pounds, 23 kilograms, to send the spacecraft to orbit Saturn. Between the years 2030 and 2040, NASA plans to send its first manned mission to Mars. Well, we know that is now off. And it's off because of the reason of the cosmic radiation being too dangerous for astronauts. And I would say also for the instrumentation and the assets and the machinery in the spacecraft, not just the human life, but also for the machines. So that's Mars mission is off. The space agency is currently investigating methods to protect Mars-bound astronauts from the harmful radiation rays of the red planet. Not of the planet, but getting to the red planet. Douglas Terrier, who is NASA's acting chief technologist, says, "We're looking at a range of things from drug therapies, and those seem to be quite promising, to more extreme things like epigenetic modification, that is, modifying the DNA of astronauts." He says, "I think those have a lot of ethical consequences, so they're still in the experimental thought stages." Russia, China, and the European Space Agency and the US are currently embroiled in a new age space race to become the first to get to Mars. So who's going to be the first to get to Mars? Obviously, it's not going to be the United States. Now, Russia has plutonium, and they have plutonium they're not giving to the US, so perhaps they will get there, who knows? Scientists had hoped to send spacecrafts further into space to uncover secrets of the universe, but that's not to be. Not with NASA anyway. SpaceX Elon Musk has also outlined plans for a cargo journey to Mars by the year 2022, as well as a moon base. The entrepreneurs, Elon Musk's SpaceX company, plans its first trip to the red planet in 2022, carrying only cargo, and then it will be followed by a manned mission 2 years later in 2024. Musk, who serves as the chief executive and lead designer of space exploration technologies, SpaceX, said his company has shrunk the size of the rocket ship planned to go to Mars, and they are aiming to start construction of the first spacecraft in the first half of next year. Of course, Elon Musk and SpaceX never ever talk about the harmful cosmic radiation and how that would affect instrumentation on his spaceships and even human astronauts. This is on Express UK.